Hi, this is Dirig. In my previous video, I did a brief overview of what exactly Microvellum was. In this video, I'm going to go through in detail and show you exactly how I got all the views, all the presentation drawings, the CNC programming from this baseline out. So I'm going to draw this again in a different room. So what I'm going to do first is going to switch to project. And I'm going to say I'd like to do a new room. I'm in room number 1 right now. Let's do a new room. So room number 2, that works for me. I'm going to pick the template that I'm going to use. That's a good one. And here's what we got. Now in my other drawing, I actually deleted these. I'll do the same here. And I deleted this because I didn't like it. And now I'm going to draw a wall. So I'm going to go down to draw. I'm in products right now. I'm going to go to room components and I need to draw a wall. So I'm going to pick points to place the wall. And I'm just going to go to the 0, 0, 0 point. And I'm going to make this wall 100 inches. Next thing I did was drew a floor. This floor is going to be 100 by 60. That I just drew was a rectangle. Now I'm going to convert the rectangle into just a floor. So I'm going to make a floor from the polyline. And it just tells me, hey, the floor's been created. So next, I want to throw some cabinets on this wall. So I'm going to draw some base cabinets first, and then some uppers. So there's a couple different ways that we can view these. We can see these just as pictures, like we see here. We can see it as a list. We can search. And the product groups is for grouping products together. But I want to look at it in a list view when I'm actually working. And I'm going to say, let's throw some base cabinets on this wall. So I'm going to right click on the 2-door base cabinets. I'm going to say, place product on the wall, anchor left. So here's my cabinet. It's anchored left. Now I had 3 cabinets that were 32 inches apiece, making it 96 inches wide, but I have a 100-inch wall. So I want the cabinet to be in 2 inches on the side to give me a good offset. So I'm going to just hold it in this direction and type in 2. And now it's going to come up and it's going to ask me to put in some parameters for this cabinet. So I'm going to say that it's 32 inches. And for right now, I'm going to say I want 3 cabinets that are 32 inches. I'm going to click OK. And it's going to drop in these 3 base cabinets in a row. So there's some things that need to change on either end. These 2 cabinets here, they are finished ends. This is finished left end. This is finished right end. And then in this cabinet, I don't know if you noticed on the last drawing, but in this cabinet, or the last video, I should say, this middle one had 2 shelves instead of 1. I'm going to go back to the top view just for working in it. And I'm going to pull open the prompts. This is what's called a prompt. This is basic information about these cabinets, but I want to make sure that this one is the left finished end. So that one's going to turn a different color when it's a left finished end. It's that darker blue. And this one, I'm going to jump back into the prompts and say that this is a right finished end. And all I did to get back into the prompts, because that was the last, this is AutoCAD, because that prompts was the last command I did, I'm just right clicking on my mouse and it's pulling it up. Now this one is going to have, instead of 1 row, it's going to have 2 rows. And that's going to draw that in. that is just stacking on top of each other. I'll show you the drawings once we get through them. Next I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in some upper cabinets. I'm going to throw in 3 2-door upper cabinets, which was the way my other video had. So I'm going to select the wall that I want them to go on. Doing the same thing here. I'm going to pull it in this direction and say go over 2 inches. I'm going to say that these are 32 inches. And there's a quantity of 3. Now it's going to draw in these 3 upper cabinets. And the same thing applies to these. We got a left finished end, a right finished end, and that middle one I added another drawer. So I'm going to jump into this. Left finished end. I'm going to right click again. And I'm going to say right finished end. And I'm going to right click one more time. And I'm going to say that this has some interior changes or interior options of 3 shelves instead of those 2. Now when I rotate this and look at it in an isometric, here is the 3D data that I was looking at in that original video that I showed you guys. So you can see it didn't take that long. This is all the data that I was using in that other video. And now I'm ready to get to a point where I want to draw. I'm just going to change the scale to 1 inch. And the first thing I want to do is I want to do a presentation drawing. I want to do this just to maybe the homeowner or the architect wants something quick. Just to get them something quick instead of spending a lot of time doing other drawings. I'm going to do a presentation view. So I'm going to get this into an isometric. I'm going to orbit it around so it's a little bit of a good perspective. I'm going to change it to perspective view instead of parallel. And I'll orbit this one more time just to get a good view. And now I'm going to do a render. So I'm going to jump over here and click the teapot. And AutoCAD is working in the background. It's going to give me a rendered view of this. These materials can change. This is just AutoCAD settings. I'm going to save this rendered view as this temp 2 is fine. Actually, let me just make sure. Oops, I want to save this to my desktop. There we go. And now I am going to jump out of that. Put this back to normal, and I'm going to say I want to just lay this out on that page that we were looking at in the original video. So I deleted the viewport that was there. Just have a blank page here. I'm going to go back to model space, and I'm going to use the view base command in AutoCAD. I'm going to grab. I don't want the floor. I'm just going to grab the cabinets and the wall. And it's going to ask me, hey, which page do you want to put it on? So I'm going to put it on the 3D drawing page. And first we have a elevation, plan view, isometric. Now I'm just clicking once, and now I'm moving it. Really anywhere I move it, it's going to change the way it looks. So there's even a left side view if you wanted a right side view. So I want that isometric, so I'm going to hold it up at that angle. And if it looks good to me, I'm going to right click and it's going to change it to these views. This is just an AutoCAD feature. First thing I want to do is I want to change the way this looks. So I'm going to say edit the view. And I want to say everything's going to be hidden lines, visible lines, and that'll update those. Now this isometric is actually a good scale, but these are too small. So I'm going to say, hey, I want you to stay. So I'm going to override this to stay at the 3/8 scale that it was drawn at. But these, I want to override these, or not override these. I want them to stay together at 3/4 of an inch. So here's the same view that we had in the other video taking shape. So here's my 2 elevation and plan view. Now I want to do 2 sections. Now there was a difference between these and these because this had 2 shelves and this had 1. So I'm going to select this and go into section. My first section is going to be through these cabinets. The way this section tool works is I got to pull it over to the left first. Once the section is generated, now I can move it into place. So I'm just using the AutoCAD move command. There's my first one. Notice, and now I want to do a second one. I'm going to come back to what I just said notice to. This one, I just want these views to, I want these markers to line up so it looks good. So I'm just using the AutoCAD commands to do that. I'm going to pull to the left. And then once I've got it generated, I'm going to pull to the right. Move this to the right. Now these are a little close down here. So what you can do, and the benefit of this is I can grab this parent view and see how it all aligns. See how the sections and the plan view automatically align with what's happening to this elevation, even the section markers. It's all parametric with that. So I'm just going to move this around on the page to get it just the way I like it. And the last thing I want to do is I want to do a detail on this guy. So I'm going to highlight him, go to detail, add that detail. The detail comes in just a little bit bigger. I like it just a little bit bigger than that. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to insert a, I want to attach that rendered view. So we'll just stick it right here. And there's a rendered view of it. So this is a great way to do a presentation drawing for an architect or an engineer. You could even do shop drawings this way too. You could see it did not take me that long to do. What's cool about these sections too is they're completely dynamic. You move them, they update. Same with the details. If you move this detail to another spot, it updates. Very cool feature of AutoCAD. Now it doesn't put dimensions in, but if I wanted to add dimensions, I can just add them on Paperspace. You know, AutoCAD rules are no dimensions on Paperspace, but this is the one time I make that exception because, I mean, it didn't take me that long to throw a few dimensions in there, and now whoever's looking at this has an idea what's going on. So that's our first way that we can do our drawings. The second way that Microvellum can do its drawings is through the 2D drawing feature. So I've done everything so far in this space as just a 3D model. These, if I were to highlight any part or piece, this is a 3D solid. But now I want to take and I want to do 2Ds from this. So I'm going to just go to my 2D drawing. And I want to say, let's make an elevation from the wall. So I'm going to select the wall. And I'm going to say, yeah, I want to select all the cabinets on that wall. And I'm going to pull them out. It doesn't really matter where. I'm just going to say, we'll say out 100 inches. And now what Microvellum is doing is it's taken those that 3D information, and it's creating these 2D shop drawings from that data. These 2D shop drawings have my finished ends noted. They have sizing noted. They have the actual cabinet number noted, adjustable shelves noted. This is 100% customizable. You can change this, edit this, move it, whatever you want. The way the scaling works is it's automatically adjusts per whatever scale that you want. See how everything just changed? So you can update things and change things very quickly with this method. And now the next thing I want to do, or next thing I need to do, is I need to do a plan view. So I'm going to grab the same wall again, and I'm going to say, let's do a plan view in line with this one at 100 inches up. I just do 100 because I like to keep things looking good. And if you're consistent like that, and you have a kind of a method to your drawings, it's going to make things look good. So that's dimensioned. These dimensions, this is just AutoCAD. So if we don't like where this is placed, we can definitely stretch these down. We can adjust these just like we would using AutoCAD. If we don't like, or if we want more information, I can just say, hey, I want to continue this dimension to see, hey, what that offset is from the wall. We can do anything that we want in standard AutoCAD, and in what we do in standard AutoCAD, we can do anything that we want in these 2D drawings. Last thing that I need is a couple of sections. So I'm going to say, let's do a section. And we can do one of two things. We could select this wall, or we can select this wall. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to select the 3D wall. And then I'm going to say, I want this section to be cut 12 inches in. And again, I'm going to line this up. We'll go 100 out. And it's going to draw this section through the base cabinet and the upper cabinet. And now the next thing I want to do is I want to draw another section from like here over. So at 45 inches. So I just measured it with the AutoCAD command. So I'm going to say, let's do one more section. And see, you can say left or right facing. You can have it so that it draws the tokens. And I'm going to say that this is 45 inches. And we'll do the same thing here. I'm going to only go 50 out on this one. So the benefit of this is, so these sections, they reflect what's going on with each of the different cabinets. But if now, say the architect comes back with a last minute change. Hey, Adam, can you change this center cabinet to go back down to the 2 shelves? We can just click on the 2D drawings, and we can say, yeah, that center cabinet is supposed to have 2 shelves instead, and click Update, and it's going to redraw that. It's going to redraw it not only in the elevation, in the 3D view, but it's going to also redraw it in these sections as well. Extremely cool. Extremely cool abilities with that. Now I am going to redraw this because I want it to be the 3 shelves. But I just wanted to show you how you can change it. Now, one thing that one thing to note in that presentation drawing that we did, what happens when you redraw these cabinets in Microvellum is it's actually redrawing everything. So it's fresh. It's not like it's tweaking here or there. It's just kind of deleting and redrawing. That does throw the presentation drawings for a loop. Notice this cabinet's going to go away. That's no big deal. All that we need to do is select this, select Edit, hit Select, and now I just need to re-highlight this area, and it's going to draw it in. That's it. So a little bit of a step there, but it's really not a big deal. So now I have the cabinets in 3D. I have the shop drawings that I would put on paper space. I would use my paper space to lay them out, just like I would do normally. We would just get these lined up, get the scales in there, get the call outs and section markers in there using Sheet Set Manager is what I would use. And once those are set and ready to go, and you are ready to process this to the CNC machine, we're going to just say, we call it a work order. And I'm going to say, let's make a work order from, I'm just going to select a part on this wall. Here's all my parts on the wall. I'm going to select everything. So I've created a work order for room 1 already. Now I'm going to create another work order for room 2. This room 2 work order, so again, in my first video I went through everything just to show you a brief overview, and in this video I'm just doing it real time. I haven't done anything. I'm not speeding anything up. I'm not going through anything. I just want to show you exactly how long it would take to take that 3 base cabinets, 3 upper cabinets, and get them to the CNC machine. So now it's just saying, hey, would you like to look at the newly created work order? And I would. And now this is my new work order. These are all the parts and the pieces that are associated with those cabinets. You can see everything's organized by part number. If there are multiple, excuse me, it is midnight. If there are multiple rooms there, we can organize them by that. Materials, anything that we want to organize by, we can just drop this down and organize these by materials. So if I want to see only the stuff that is plywood, that's that. If I want to see everything, then I do that. If I don't really want to have that up there anymore, I just drag it back down. So everything is very customizable when it comes to that. But right now I just want to nest everything, so I'm going to select the nest. I'm going to select all the parts, and I'm going to assign that processing station to these parts. So see here, nest has been assigned. Nest has been assigned. And I'm going to process this. Again, real time. I have not done anything crazy here. And once this is processed, it takes a second to process, but once this is processed, I'm going to show you the G code. Well, the nested. The G code is actually created for your specific machine. You know, if you have a Styles machine, if you have a BSC machine, whatever machine you have, Anderson, we connect to pretty much everything. Those particular files, G-code files that you would open at the machine and run, would be stored in these 2 folders. I only have 2 materials happening here, 3/4 inch plywood for the toe kick, and I have 3/4 inch white melamine for everything else, just to keep it simple. So those files, those G-code files would be in here, or the program files. I used to run a wiki machine, so I used to have NPR files. My NPR files would be in there. I'd open them up, load it on the machine, run it. The one that's going to have everything is going to be in this composite view. This composite view has got everything laid out. So this is our 3/4 inch plywood for the kicks. I have a separate kick for each base. And this is telling us some yield. My melamine's set for 5x8, which is a sucky yield. I mean, it's actually pretty good yield in this situation, but generally I like 5x9 material. But see, we can see, here's my yield there. Everything's nested. Everything's got a number associated with it, and then it's just organized down here. It's a great way to look at things. So we can just see how everything's going, and if we need to tweak stuff or change stuff or add, we can edit this nest however we want and then just update the G code from there. And now I'm going to look at some reporting, and that's pretty much it for this video. So back to the work order area. Now I want to look at some labels. So let's look at labels for the products themselves. This would be the labels that you'd slap on the product after it's done and assembled. We do have barcoding that can correlate with that. Now the labels for the actual parts. These parts, I have mine set up to be printed on a 8.5 by 11 sheet. So, and it's 4 inch by 1 inch labels. So you can stick them on, you print them out in the office, create a package, hand it to your CNC guy, and they're able to just go right down through this list. There are other people that do it on demand at the machine. There are other people that do it with automated labels. We can kind of do it all. So, and then these are set up so that if we zoom in, you can see a little part. You can see what's going on here. This is set up. I just recently changed this. It was working before. So this is supposed to give you a thick line here. I think I have my line. Settings off. But you can do either a thick line. My line weights is what I meant. You can do a thick line or you can do an X. I'm going to change mine back to the X because the thick line's not showing up. And now the next thing is we can do reports. So there's a bunch of different reporting that you can do. One that I always liked to do and use is my hardware report. I'll just go from the top down. This hardware reports all the hardware that's going to be needed. So I would print this out, make sure my ordering was set for my hardware. We have a quote that you could use. So this is new. This quote is going to give you just a price. So this, you could actually send this to your customer, to your customer. So it's going to cost this much. We can adjust things here. We can say, hey, I want my markup to be 60%, and that quote will adjust. So it was 4,000. Now it's 5,000. And then we can do some nest optimization reports. So this is what you would print for your CNC operator. So your CNC operator can know how the labeling is going to go. And then product detail report. This is like a cut list for each product. So I got 3 base cabinets. I got 3 upper cabinets. So this is my first base cabinet, all the parts and pieces associated with them. Second, third. This is a dynamic image. So if there is customization that happens here, which I'll go over in my next video, then that would show up. If I didn't want to see that and I just wanted my guys on the floor to see something that was a little bit more generic, I would send out this generic JPEG, which gives you, it's just the same view that you had when I was dropping it into the software. So there's a ton of different reports here. You can customize them, add as many as you want. But that's the basic walkthrough of what I showed you in the initial drawing, my room 1 drawing. That I did a quick overview. Well, I just created a room 2 and showed you every step of the process to get it to go to the CNC machine. So please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, put them below and let me know how you like things. So